What happened? Yo, 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 yo. Come on, Tiger.
What's going on, man?
Watching over there, didn't it? What
I
went
have
on?
technical difficulty, man.
Man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's Monday. Call them educational Mondays.
Hmm.
And those that tuning in, the other Mondays we was covering meme coins. This Monday we doing centralized crypto exchanges.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna just hit that a little bit. What's the first one? What's the first exchange you remember? Well, I guess the first exchange you used to purchase, first time you ever bought.
Binance,
Oh, okay, so Binance.
about
Oh,
2000, December 2017, when Bitcoin went up to 17,000. My dog hit me up,
mm,
bruh. You heard of Bitcoin? I'm like, what? And you got the politicking. Next thing you know, I'm on Binance. So yeah, Binance was the first one. Yeah, Binance. Then it
man.
kind of got banned in the US to where I had
Mm,
to wipe my hands with Binance. And that was train wreck, but because no lack of education with it. Uh, so yeah. What about yourself?
man, shoot. Coinbase was the first. It was either Coinbase or Robinhood.
Hmm.
Uh, it was Coinbase or Robinhood. I want to say it was Might have been Robinhood. I'm trying to think. Was it that time we was talking about Ethereum, which that would have been like 2020, 2021, whatever. But that was Robin. That might have been. Yeah, it was either that or one of my buddies was telling me about it, and I got some on KuCoin. So it was either KuCoin or Robinhood, one or the other. But yeah,
So in
KuCoin is similar to Binance, same platform.
uh-huh.
You need a VPN to be able to do it now. But
So when I had first brought it up back in the day, you just heard me, you ain't even paying no mind.
no, yeah, no, not back then. You talking about 16, 17.
Nah, 17, 18. I wish I know about a 16.
Yeah,
Woo.
no, yeah, 17. That was
And December 17 too, not even January. So that's a big price difference. January 17 versus December 17. That's
yeah,
like huge price difference.
yeah. No, of course, hindsight 2020. Wish would have took heed. Got serious and was buying it back then. It's just anything else, like you said today. I was just ignorant. I ain't know. Like this stuff
Mhm.
just didn't make sense.
Mhm.
Honestly, like for people to just getting in now, it's probably gonna take a cycle or two for you really to. I mean, because like I said, it's just gonna all this stuff is like Chinese arithmetic, as they say.
Mhm.
You ain't gonna really get it, but hey, once you get it and you be like, okay, this is what, hey, this stuff ain't going nowhere. Like it's
No,
no question
facts.
now. You think 17, like it wasn't no the institutions and stuff wasn't in it. Before that it was like used for black market stuff. So it's like it just didn't seem like it was gonna be around.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
Especially like before 17 for sure. You had, Silk Road. And when we talk about the other side of centralized exchanges, we can, talk about stuff like Silk Road, but it definitely wasn't talked about. It was like you said, it was looked at like black market, like illegal for real. They was trying to tie it into all the negative stuff as if the US dollar or other currencies don't do illegal stuff as well. But they was really trying to push it down.
Mhm. Yeah, and another thing too with being ignorant and just not understanding it, it's where you from too. Like, I'm from a little small little country town. Like, maybe if it was in a Miami or Atlanta or New York or LA or something, it would have been more likely you could have brushed shoulders with somebody, more people that was doing it, and they would have really been like, okay, this is the wave, and would have jumped on it. But when you from, these little rural towns, like, we behind anyway. So like I say, just ignorant, just didn't know. But yeah, this is an article on Investopedia. If you can pull it up, read it for yourself. But yeah, it just breaks down what a centralized crypto exchange is. It says centralized crypto exchanges are regulated businesses that facilitate cryptocurrency buying, selling, and trading. They act as a intermediary, attempting to provide a safe way to connect users to each other and as a way to exchange fiat and cryptocurrencies.
Mhm.
So, just a simple, plain way of putting it is it's a platform where you can buy and sell crypto. Like it's literally
Mhm.
what it is, and it's regulated. Like that's what centralized mean is regulated. It's not like it's somebody you can something happen, you can contact somebody and fix different issues. But but yeah, that's just a simple way of but we saw but look, speaking of crypto, centralized exchanges, but we saw last cycle uh
On FTX.
yeah, the dangers of a centralized exchange.
Yeah,
Like that was crazy, wasn't it?
man, crazy. You know, that shoot, I think he's still locked up too, you know. One person having all that power, hey, he had big dogs backing him. I remember Kevin O'Leary was backing him.
Mm-hmm.
You had people really backing him, and come to find out it wasn't what they were saying, you know. And to piggyback on what you just briefly read, centralized exchanges ain't necessarily just come around, It's literally just transactions happening between two parties. In traditional finance, all businesses are centralized exchanges. For example, banks, like Goldman Sachs or something like that, stock trading with Robinhood, uh, payment processors like Visa. That's all central exchanges. They basically like a trusted middleman. Like you say, you got FTX, so you can trust it. Take that word with a grain of salt. But in crypto, you got centralized exchanges, but also you got, stuff like the decentralized side as well. And that doesn't require a third party. And we'll go further on to that on another educational section.
Mhm. Yeah, it's basically just it's unregulated, where it's centralized is regulated. But the thing is with centralizers though is a lot of them fees will punish you, man.
Ooh,
That's why a lot of people will run to the decentralized exchange. Yeah, them fees is rough. Like you look at Coinbase, you know,
bruh.
with all of them, like them fees be crazy. And a lot of time the price outside of the fee, the price, a lot of times can be higher. Like you go on, Coinbase or crypto.com or something, Bitcoin might say 86,000. You look on a decentralized, it might say 85.3, which of course that's some arbitrage opportunity where somebody can,
Mhm.
buy it and flip it, but whatever.
I think honestly, if I ain't mistaken, I believe it was the guy who started FTX, the Sam Bankman Fried or fraud, whatever. Look, some people say Sam Bankman fraud.
The fraud, yeah.
Hey, but I remember he said, if I ain't mistaken, he was the one who said like he realized the price discrepancies.
Hmm.
And how he really came up initially was because he was buying from one exchange at a cheaper price and selling on another exchange, you know, and made a killing by doing that. So like you said, that right there alone, and speaking of them fees, you know, I can recall, Coinbase, me and you had the conversation when we were purchasing. I'm like, bro, they putting like maybe a whole extra 1,000 on the price of Bitcoin, and that's when I'm like, I don't even want to outside of the fee, so they charging a fee, they putting the extra points on it, like they just was going crazy. So I end up, of course, this ain't financial advice, but I like to use a platform called River, which is another centralized exchange, but they only sell Bitcoin. It's not like they sell or offer other other currencies. You got places like Coinbase, Robinhood, Cranking, you know, they're ones, Crow, what we use, those are all centralized, but just got to be mindful of not only the fees, but like you mentioned, you got to be mindful of the prices as well.
Yeah, yeah, the river, that's for the maxis. That's for the maxis. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't get nothing but Bitcoin on
All
river.
you, yep, all you can get.
Yeah. Look, most retail, they gonna most retail they want them other coins. They're gonna go to Coinbase and stuff.
Especially you can't get no memes. You know, retail want that meme.
Yeah. They want to try to make some money fast.
100%.
Yes, sir. But yeah, you got anything else you want to add to the
Uh,
any
I
other?
I'd say with the centralized, I say, usually is user friendly. Um, you know, usually it can be fast transactions. I don't think that's mainly just on centralized because we didn't use the decentralized side and it'd be fast as well. You can also get some type of support sometimes. With the decentralized exchanges, you it yeah, it ain't really no third party. The bad thing I will say about it, you don't own your keys. If you got a third party, if you own a centralized, not your keys, and that means that they pretty much got control, they got the keys, they hold your wallet. So that's it. And so, and a lot of people that's really been like in the space, they look at it like not your keys, not your coins, so that's the thing. I know Coinbase, I think it insures up to like 250,000, but like say if somebody was to get hacked, like an exchange to get hacked, unless they got some type of insurance behind it, again, not your keys, not your coins, you want to make sure that the exchange that you're using also has some type of, all right, if you lose this amount, we'll cover that. Um, so yeah, they also usually make you verify your identity as well. So that could be a pro and a con. Depends on how low you want to be. Some people don't want nobody to know. Like I was at a meetup one time and a gentleman was like, you know, I don't want if he was speaking hypothetically saying if, it became where you using Bitcoin, this is a Bitcoin maxi. It's like, if you using your sats, I don't want it to be known where, okay, I stopped and got gas right here, and then I bought a coffee right here, and then I did this right here, So like sometimes people would prefer for their identity to be, discreet as well, almost like using cash. But outside of that, nah, that's kind of some of the notes that I had written down. Let me see. Um,
But yeah, that identity thing you said, yeah, a lot of people big on that.
mhm.
Like they kind of, they call it KYC, know your customer. But yeah, people that's been in the space a long time, people originally got in, to be quote unquote incognito.
Yeah,
So, the platforms where they KYC, a lot of the, what I call the old heads in the space, they don't want to fool with them.
the original cyberpunks.
Yeah, they don't want to fool with them. But yeah,
Facts.
and another thing you can do, like if you purchase it on a centralized exchange, you always, which we'll talk about, cold wallets, but you can always buy it, put it on a cold wallet to get it
Hmm.
off of there. Especially if you have a substantial amount. If you got a few Bitcoin, you probably want to, have them on a cold wallet,
Hmm.
so you don't have to worry about that.
Especially if that price, if it's 100 and you got three Bitcoin, like we was just saying with the insurance, I don't know if Coinbase would insure you $300,000 if you had three Bitcoins and the price of Bitcoin was 100,000 a pop. So, if they
True.
not gonna cover it, then you really playing with fire.
Yeah.
So 100% what you said about the cold walls, that would definitely be another episode we educate on.
Yeah. And to be honest, if you don't plan on selling it, I mean, I don't, to me, why would you hold that much on there anyway? You got, a few Bitcoin, and it's worth, 300 grand or whatever. Like, I wouldn't want that much just sitting on there anyway.
Mhm.
Like, with technology, I'd be scared somebody, can hack in it and just, who knows how long it may would take, to recover it. Or I mean, I don't know how the Coinbase would do it if it did get stole, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't even take the chance with that much on there. I would have
Mhm.
it on a cold wallet. That's just me, but yes, sir.
Yeah, no, shoot. Y'all made it this far. Definitely like, share, subscribe. Hey, Educational Mondays is what? I think this our fourth week of doing Educational Mondays.
Yeah, four.
It's
Yeah,
not financial advice. We just definitely want to share the information. Sats and crypto, man.
yes,
Stack your
sir.
sats. Educate yourself.
Appreciate everybody.
Hmm